riding down Highway 61. Sides of the roads all lined with fields, nothing but sunset in the windshield. Feel it as soon as I ride into town. This is where I go to slow down. Miles and miles of soybeans and corn. I'm in the place where the blues was born. About a mile from the big muddy river, place I'll always remember. Cabin on the lake and a fishing pole. Forever here I'll rest my soul. I can feel my worries drift away from being out in the sun all day. No matter where in the world I go, I'll always find home on the banks of that oxbow.
What's up, guys? Justin Berry here. We're back at the OKC show here in Oklahoma, man. Long drive for me and Brad, wasn't it?
It was a good little ride.
Good little ride. Hey, we're starting off the first episode here for 2020. Speaking of the 2020 year, we have a lot of guys coming on board with us. A lot of great companies that has recognized us to say, "Hey, y'all doing a good job. Let's keep this. Let's keep the train going. Yeah, help us out big." We want to give a big shout out to them real quick. We got Huckabee Rods coming on board, Denali Rods, B&M Rods, the Direction TV with Mark Stowe, great TV show. Watch fishing. Visit Ridgeland, your hometown, Brad.
Yeah, my home folks.
Home folks backing you.
Yep.
Great place to go. Fish Ross Barnett Reservoir. Bobby Garland is behind us. Jinko Fishing and Camp Chef. Camp Chef. You don't know what Camp Chef is, Brad? Tell them about it.
You know, I've been a fan of Camp Chef for quite a while now, and you know, we met them this past fall, and you know, we're all about the outdoors and bringing people in, but us crappie fishermen love to eat them. We love to eat meat, and we love to smoke meat.
That's right. That's right.
Camp Chef's aboard, and we're going to do a lot of cool things with them this season with Camp Chef. So
Can't
look
wait.
forward to it.
Can't wait. You're sitting there wondering what this guy in the middle is. We got Ruben Flores out of where again?
Out of Claremore, Oklahoma.
Claremore, Oklahoma. Now, tell us what you do, Ruben.
Well, I make crappie jigs. I make streamers. I make things that catch trout, crappie, sand bass, white bass, bluegill.
So you hand tie hair jigs.
Yes.
Do you do anything else?
Well, I pour the lead heads too, so I could. What's that?
From A to Z?
Yeah, A to Z. I do a hackle, marabou, bucktail, squirrel tail.
That's awesome.
All kinds of plastics too.
Now you do this for a full-time job, or?
Yes, I do.
You do.
Mm-hmm.
How many years have you been doing it?
I have been doing it since about 2012.
2012. Yes. Well, show it a little bit of what you make here. Get some show and tell here.
The first crappie jigs I ever started making were the 1/80ths.
1/80ths? I never fished one like that.
It's about as big as a dime.
Hold up to the
What
camera
size
real
hook
good.
do you got on there?
On this one particularly, I have a size 8.
Hold up real close to the camera. There you go.
Size 8, and you can tell that it is a sickle hook. We also make them with an Aberdeen or standard hook, round hook, and it's the tiniest jig that we make. We also go.
Wait, how big a fish have you pulled off of that?
Oh, I pulled 2.5 pound
Really?
crappie with us.
Slinging them in the boat.
Yes.
Slinging them in.
Yep.
Dropping them deep.
And we do jigs with eyes too. And that one there is a 1/8. We do 1/24. We do the standard round-headed, jigs.
Yeah.
We could do them with just the regular colors, or we have some that are more glittery, or more splashy, or twinkly, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
So you pretty much, can anybody just call you up and say, hey, here's what I want?
Yes. We've been giving out our business cards here at this show, and you can find us on Facebook with Ruben Flores Jigs. And a lot of people find us that way, or they find us through a business card. If you make an order with us, we'll send a business card, usually a stick or two, also with the order. And sometimes I get phone calls out of the blue, sometimes late at night. and somebody will pull a jig out of their tackle box, and they'll say, hey, I've had this for about 10 years. Can you match it?
Oh, really? That's a great idea.
And so we get people sending me pictures in the middle of the night. We get people screenshotting on. If you are on Facebook and you see Ruben Flores Jigs, we don't just have the standard 1 through 40 colors. We have all kinds of other colors there. And sometimes people will screenshot, send me back a pic, and say, well, we like this particular color. Instead of having pink flashing, can we do purple flashing on this one? And we'll do it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So sky's the limit.
What's probably your most popular jig color that you're tying right now?
It's usually it's usually this jig that's all silver, and it has a silver head, silver body, and down in Texas they've been buying a lot of these either with a gray tail or a white tail. One of the other popular colors that we get is like the electric chicken style color. I'm not I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. But,
you say anything you want, man.
But we get the colors that sometimes some of the other producers make, and we somewhat mimic them sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I noticed there are different colors people use in Alabama, Mississippi. So if you're calling from a certain place in the United States, I keep track of everything that we put out. And
as far as colors, like what region you go to?
Yeah.
Colors, styles.
Oh, that's smart.
And we have right now, I think, about 20 customers out of Mississippi. And for some reason, not a single one likes the sickle hook.
Really?
No, see, I'm opposite.
Oh,
yeah, you like the sickle hooks, don't you, Brad?
I like a sickle hook.
Yeah.
Depends if I'm tipping, I do not like a sickle hook. Now,
yeah,
if I'm just tipping it, actually, I want a regular old standard hook if I'm gonna put a minnow behind it. Now, if I'm not using minnows, I like a sickle hook better.
I got you. So you ship to all 48 states?
Yes.
What's the craziest place you ship to?
Oh,
you read my mind.
Great minds think alike.
Well, Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C.
You think for a little place like that, and I shipped some jigs there during the World Series, basically. And it just so happened there's a guy that grew up in Verdigris, Oklahoma, that lives up at D.C., works at the Nationals ballpark, and said he goes crappie fishing up there.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you ever ask them how big they get up there?
No.
Next time you need to.
Yeah.
What? Well, he just wants to catch them.
I know, right? I always want to know how big they are everywhere else where I can't go.
Kind of give us some history on your jig company here. What made you want to start this, and how did you actually get about starting it?
Well, years back I had some shoulder surgeries done on each side, and I was a cat fisherman and a bass fisherman. And because of the surgeries, I could, for a certain time, I couldn't cast. So I thought, well, let me go to the nearest indoor dock, and it was cold outside, so I went to the Claremore dock, and I saw people catching fish off with these little rods, 4-footers, 6-footers, 5-footers, and they were catching these crappie. And to me, growing up in South Texas,
how deep south? Like McAllen?
Hill Country, Kerrville, Texas.
Okay.
And so I kind of thought, man, I always thought a crappie was, well, just a little bit bigger than a perch. Mm-hmm. And I caught some, took some home, and I have one bass rod today, and all I use it for is sand bass or white bass if you're in Texas. And from there, I started seeing some of the older gentlemen use these teeny tiny little bitty jigs, and they had hair on them. I had been used to using plastics to some extent because I'm new at this at that time, and so I happened to buy some of the jigs off these people and realized, hey, they don't make these certain colors at certain tackle shops. I need to start making these myself, and since I was going through the process of rehabbing my shoulders, I needed to keep them moving.
Keep you busy,
keep me busy, and so I started making them. There was a 75-year-old gentleman that made the little jig heads for me, named Fay Riley, out of Claremore, and I thought this fella's going to pass on pretty soon. I better learn how to pour my own jig heads. So I started doing that, And it built a relationship up between me and Faye. And he's been, for 10 years, I'll sit in and watch him tie jigs.
Yeah.
And he has taught me a lot. I haven't learned everything yet. But from there, I've learned different patterns, different methods, different knots. And he kind of gave me the how would you say, the
foundation to
the
it?
foundation, or what do you call those wheels you have on a bicycle when someone's learning how to
Training wheels?
Training wheels, yes. And from there, I just I just built up this enthusiasm towards tying.
Are you telling me you got hooked?
I got hooked. Yep. And once I ate that first crappie, it just I do go catfishing maybe once a year.
Yeah.
Sand bass fishing maybe once or twice. Other than that, it's full on crappie fishing.
No way. I'm sure fried, right?
Oh yeah.
That's awesome. How much your jigs go for?
Oh, they go anywhere from the 1/80ths, the smaller ones. They here at the show they go anywhere $7 for a 6-pack, and for the larger ones with the eyes, for a 3-pack they're going $6. Right now at the show we're doing it basically selling at the 2019 prices. They will be just a little bit higher, but what we did for the show was so that we wouldn't have to give out quarters or dimes or nickels. We just rounded everything to a pretty good number. And
now, say 2019 year, how many? I mean, you putting a lot out the door? You shipping a lot? You making a lot? Are you backed up? Or?
I get anywhere from. There are some days that I may have 0 orders, and then there's some days like a few weeks ago we had like 30 or 40 orders in one day.
Wow!
And a lot of the business, some people think they could just get into it, and I've been able to help. I get calls all the time during the week from young people, old people who want to start tying jigs, and in some ways it's a good therapy, but it's also an addiction because once you start off with a certain style, you have to get this color and then that color tail.
It's like
and
your
that
baby
color
you make.
body.
You're making all your babies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And some of them, some of the young folks, they want to get into it. They think they could start a business. And how I first started selling was I saw people at the local dock. I had friends and family that were like, "Hey, I like that. How much would you sell it to me for?" And at the time,
so people was at the dock hustling their jigs they make, right?
Some of them do.
Really?
And I never really went out and said, hey bud, I got something for you. Can you meet me behind my car? Yeah. Here's,
what?
Give me some money and I'll give you a bag.
Yeah.
No. I mean, some people do that, but I tied for myself, and then I began to tie for just friends and family, and then it just grew, and then I had a tackle shop. JD's Tackle out of Claremore at first asked me to tie for him, and then at another tackle shop, and then another tackle shop, and then I had quite a few stores. I had one in Texas and quite a bit in Oklahoma, and the one in Texas was at my local hometown where I grew up, at the Gibson's department store, where I went to when I was a little kid.
That makes you feel good, I bet.
Oh yeah. I bought my first fishing rod there, but yeah, I just, it started growing, and then I had this crazy idea to do a web page or some kind of a web store and eBay store, and then I thought, let me just start posting pictures on Facebook, and it just blew up. I had people in California, New Jersey, Ohio, and realized that here in Oklahoma, to put it in some people's perspective, they think that crappie season here runs, late February to early May. I'm sorry for bumping that.
You're good.
But I realize it's crappie season year-round, everywhere.
24/7.
Yeah, some places up north, they don't start spawning till June, July.
Yeah.
And so what was once a seasonal hobby / job for me has turned into a year-round business.
Mainly when I use hand ties myself, it's going to be during the summertime. Especially I like those little small ones right there, the 1/64th and that little small jig. I want to use it during the summertime when it's really hot and those fish are lethargic. And I think that just that little bit more pulsating with the feathers and such, it just seems to draw a few more bites.
Oh yeah, yeah, and sometimes people, they want marabou feathers or they want hackle feathers because they move differently and they are presented differently. And again, it's taken years, and I'm not perfect by any means, but
Well, they look really good from what we've seen on social media, your Facebook page. I mean, everybody around here, and especially in Oklahoma, sitting there talking about how good you're tying them.
Oh, well, thank you.
Now, how fast now can you tie one?
About 30 seconds.
You can from scratch.
Well,
No.
if the head's painted and
Yeah.
it's a pretty simple, and if it's a small jig, I mean, 30
seconds.
seconds to a minute,
Wow.
if that.
Somebody wanting to learn how to do this. Is there a lot of videos on YouTube they can?
Yes,
reach out with?
that's a very that has become a very helpful tool
For yourself.
for myself. And again, I do get phone calls from time to time, and a lot of times I will direct people to Facebook. Facebook has some videos, but YouTube mostly.
Yeah.
There's just there are some blessed people that do a very fine job, and they're more instructional and more, they can vocalize and instruct people a lot better than I can. And that's one of the things I'm looking at hopefully this year, is producing some type of a live production.
You got anything up your sleeve you're trying to work on secretly you want to tell us about?
Well, I'm working on some bladed jigs that I'm looking at putting out. I also have a tail with a jig with a plastic tail that has a lot of movement to it. It's going to have somewhat of a J look to it. It's going to squiggle and maneuver a lot differently than just a hair jig or a bucktail jig.
I got you. Is there anything else you want to add to everybody's tuning in?
Oh, I'm realizing with social media that the world is a lot smaller.
Yeah.
And I've met people here that have been customers, or they saw me. You know?
Yeah.
And again, that's it's a cool thing.
It's a very cool thing. Brad, anything else you want to add?
No, just
Question?
thanks for coming on here real quick. And I know we kind of put you on the spot real quick, but you answered the call and got over here for us. And
Yeah.
I think guys are really, this is something that's been around for a long time, and
Oh yeah.
it's going to continue to grow.
Yeah, one of the things I realized is in our parts in northeast Oklahoma, there were a lot of people tying jigs, and a lot of them are older individuals. And I'm no spring chicken by any means. I'm 53 now. I just had a birthday recently, but there are younger people that are wanting to learn, and all it takes is just patience. And if you want to learn how to do this, I'll help you as much as I can. But you got to have patience, and you got to have time.
Yeah.
Again, some of the things that I produce,
Sounds like crappie fishing.
it's taken
Exactly, like
years,
crappie fishing.
it's I get if you want to call it stealing or whatever, I glean a little bit from here, this guy, a little bit from that guy, and then sooner or later you just start producing your own style of jig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your number one seller, let's hear it. You said the silver,
Yeah,
whitetail.
the silver with the whitetail.
Silver whitetail.
And there are a lot of people, and I didn't bring it with us today, but I do have the standard black head, black body, chartreuse tail.
Yeah.
And that's just an oldie but goodie, I guess.
It's been around a long time.
Oh yeah.
Long time. Was there anything else? And we're pretty much done here, I guess, right? Well, ladies and gentlemen, Ruben Flores. You can find him on Facebook, all the social media. Ruben Flores Jig Company. He's out of Claremore, Oklahoma. Phone number real quick, 918-549-1379. Hit him up. Want some special hair jigs made, he'll custom order it, man.
Time down.
Time down. All right, guys, it's Justin Berry.
Brad Chapel.
We'll see y'all later. Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you.
About a mile from Big Muddy River, a place I'll always remember. Cabin on the lake and a fishing pole. Forever here I'll rest my soul. I can feel my worries drift